Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Tuesday, November 24th, 2020, 10 a.m. Central, in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Well, it's Tuesday. That makes it a cartography and world building day to day, and today I think we'll look at world building, because that's kind of what I had planned. Made this whole title card and everything. I made it out of used pallets. 1E AD&D DMG Appendix F Gambling. What up with gambling? In-game gambling. Because inevitably, I think with most games, I gotta leave it there. Once I put up the text stuff, I'll need to be in this corner. Anyway, whether it's just in a common room of a tavern or inn, or if it's in the back alley in a seedy neighborhood in a overdeveloped city, or it's in casinos or below deck on a ship, dice and cards and various other games will often be played. If not by the PCs, certainly you can toss it in as a interesting thing to have going on while NPCs are being confronted, courted, met, encountered. Any which way you do it. So you want to go hire a armorer, and you let's pick up where we left off on Sunday, I guess. And you go to find that armorer, and that armorer is not at the armory, not at the forge, but you're told by his young daughter, who's smarter than she should be for her years, that Daddy is off gambling in a back alley behind such and such a business, like he does every night with the family's dinner money. And she seems none too happy, so she's more than pleased that she's able to sell him out. Because that's how it should be, right? So you make your way over to that back alley, and you find indeed that the armorer's back there. Do you get in the game with him? Do you talk him into debt so that you can secure him as an armorer for your castle? Do you even want this guy? I mean, if this addiction is so strong at this point, are you lawful good, and do you feel compelled to save him from himself? To put him on the straight and narrow? Sure, with any addiction you have to want to overcome it, cast it aside, get yourself released from the throes of it. You need to have that impetus in your own brain, in your own heart. But what can be done by a player character, and how much loyalty is instilled within this potential retainer if you pluck him up out of the city where he's just around too many people that are going to keep him backsliding into his addiction if he ever tries to kick it. You pluck him out of that, bring him miles away to your castle, and drop him down into the forge. bring his family along, put him in a home nearby, tell everybody around that armor, I catch any of you gambling or inciting him to gamble, it's your thumbs. No, Polly, they took my thumbs. Oh, no. This is horrible. What was that? The Pope of Greenwich Village? One of those classic low-level gangster films. Eric Roberts. Probably worth watching. It's an early Daryl Hannah movie. So if you want to see some of the film footage that made her famous, started her career off long before Kill Bill. But let's get into it. Let's talk about the actual gambling Appendix F. Yeah, baby. There's a bunch of small games in here, and I got one on the side too that I'll tell you about. This pastime is common in all taverns, inns, and just about any barracks. Forgot to mention barracks. You may, of course, make up any games for wagering purposes you wish. Flipping a coin. How many times will it come up heads before it goes to tails? Here are some few for those of you who are unfamiliar with basic dice games. Cards are too involved to go into here, except as noted. Dice games, craps. Everybody knows craps, right? 7-Eleven. The shooter wins on a first roll with 2d6 of 7 or 11, or loses on 2, 3, or 12. Otherwise, the shooter rolls until the number first roll is rolled a second time, which is a win, or a 7 is rolled, which is a loss. Shooters bet before rolling, as others may. Side bets can be made thereafter as applicable if there are any takers. The fancy line play of modern casinos is ignored. Dice pass clockwise to the next player when the shooter loses. What about horse? The first roller is determined by whatever means is desired. 5d6 are used. 6 high, 1 low. Lowest to highest hands are pairs, 2 pairs, 3 of a kind straight, 1 to 5 or 2 to 6, full house, triplet, and pair. 4 of a kind, 5 of a kind. The first roller may elect to roll once or twice. And this is basically a stripped-down version of poker using dice. There are poker dice out there. They're a little bit wonky, but some people like playing with them. If 2 rolls are made, the roller may retain none, 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the dice of the first toss, rolling the remainder. Winner becomes the boss, first roller. So you only get to roll twice. You can stop after 1 roll if you have a really good hand, if you will. Knuckle bones. Again, this is a crap type game. But the object is to score the highest total. A variant allows a second roll of the dice by the first shooter, retaining none or 1 of them, if he or she so desires, but then all other players are entitled to do the same. Winner rolls first. Slot variant, 3d6. Knucklebones has some similar aspects to Ship Captain Crew, which we'll get in later, it's one of my favorite little dice games. Slot variant, use 3d6, 1 roll only, the wager being made prior to the roll. The table below is weighted in favor of the house. You may, of course, devise your own tables. So you notice these rolls on the dice on the left. It says lemon, orange, bar, bell, plum, cherries, but they're 1 to 6. You don't have to try to keep that in mind. You can buy blank 6-sided dice, and you can paint them on, make stickers or decals, and apply them to the dice so that you see these actual fruits, bars, and bells. But it's unnecessary. Zowie. Oh, and the odds. 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, 6 to 1, 4 to 1, 8 to 1, 10 to 1, 12 to 1, 24 to 1. 36 to 1 is the big jackpot. The little jackpot is at 24 to 1 with 3 5s. But that's weird because naturally it's no more difficult to roll 3 6s than it is to roll 3 5s. Why the disparity? Just to make it interesting, I guess. So there you go. Zowie slot variant. Use 3d8 instead of 3d6. The odds on any given combination are changed from 1 to 216 to 1 to 512. Payoffs are as follows. 3d8, so you're going up higher. You're just stretching the curve, really. Making it more lucrative at the high end. But, of course, the house winning that much more by stretching it out and making it tough to hit any given numbers. Dice racing. Use a checkerboard. 4 players. Maximum. Place their tokens on alternate rows. The object is to move the token to the end of the board sideways 1 and then back on the adjacent file to the first roll. A roll of d6 determines the number of spaces each player moves. Wagers are made prior to the commencement of the game. Roll and move in its simplest form, and clearly it's most boring. I don't recommend games that are roll and move games, and certainly not roll and move games where there's nothing but roll your die and move, and the first one to move the most or to a finish line wins. That's all about luck. There's no skill involved whatsoever, and you don't need me to play that. In between. Roll 3d20. 2 white and 1 of a different color. The player must roll in between the 2 white dice with the colored dice. Equaling a number is a loss. If the 2 white dice equal each other, the loss is automatic. Odds are always 5 to 2 before dice are cast. Note, a crooked house might paint 11 sides of a die black and only 9 red. So this is in the day when you would get a 20-sider that just had 1 to 0, 0 to 9 on each side, each half. And then you would either paint one side of the die, not the numbers, but just the faces, so that you could tell this was high, 11 to 20, or low, if you prefer. The other thing you would do sometimes is the die was completely uncolored, so it had the numbers etched in them, and you might take a very fine marker, black marker, and mark in the 0 through 9 on one side with black marker, and a lot of people would take a red marker, which were not that tough to find, and mark in the 0 to 9 on the other side. So you had red and black. And this is what that is referring to, where whichever side was meant to be low would you cheat an extra number in there. But of course you couldn't do them all together because it would be easy to see one sticking out into the other half if you ever held the die for any moment of time. So some people would take this, oh, like a red one here, and kind of scatter them so that there wasn't a discernible pattern and it wasn't easy to pick up the 11th side which you cheated in. Nevertheless, again, totally random. No decision making in that except do I roll or do I not roll? Do I gamble or do I not gamble? Seems like when that's the only decision to make, you might as well just hand your money over because all games are weighted toward the house. Card games, 21. A 52 card deck is used. Each player betting against the house, dealer, the DM. 2 cards are dealt to each player, and the dealer, players in turn elect to take additional cards up to a total of 5. Hands totaling 21 automatically, over 21 automatically lose. Hands of 5 cards under 22 automatically win double their wager, except the dealer. So this is a little off because 21 is blackjack, of course, and if you have to beat the dealer but stay under 22 to win, and it isn't very explicit here. The object is to come as close to 21 as possible. Ties go to the house. Aces count either 1 or 11. Yeah, I'm going to skip ahead. That's just blackjack, you know. If you're not familiar, it's a game worth looking up if you like to play cards at all. There's a lot of decision making. There are a lot of odds. The fact that you're playing against the house and against the game increases the number of factors you have to take into account. High-low. Each player gets 2 cards face down. Prior to dealing, some stake is placed into the pot, an ante. After looking at the cards, each player turns 1 up, and the player with the highest card bets. A 3 raise limit is suggested, just to keep people from raising and raising and raising ad infinitum. Each player has the option of changing his or her up or down card for a fresh one from the deck. This takes place 3 times going around the table with a betting interval after each round. A 2 is low, an ace is high. The object is to have the highest hand, a pair on down, to a 2-3 possible, lowest possible hand, followed by 2-4, 3-4, 2-5, 3-5. Spells it all out for you. High and low hands split the pot equally, odd money going to high. Other gambling games can be devised on principle of colors, shapes, position, or whatever. So there you go. Just a handful of games that can be played in-game by the player characters in some downtime. Some DMs might point out that that is a useful way to get excess monies off of players. Certainly that was one of Gary's constant cries, was I've given my players too much money. How do I get it back from them before they have everything their heart desire? Because then how do you lead them? Well, I told you I was going to show off Ship Captain Crew. I put this out in 2005, but I've been playing it forever. It's just an old game. I was actually kind of surprised that it wasn't in the DMG. It's way older than that. It's 2-page PDF. This is the second page. The front page is the cover. It's this simple. Ship Captain Crew. This dice game can be played. Here, we'll do that. Oh, no, we'll do this. This dice game can be played by as few as 2 players and as many as you wish to participate. 5 6-sided dice are used. Individual rounds can be played for stakes, or a game can consist of multiple rounds for stakes or for points only. It doesn't have to be gambling. The object of this game is to roll a 6, known as a ship, a 5, known as a captain, and a 4, known as a crew, with 3 dice, and get the highest score with the other 2 dice, known as the treasure. This can be accomplished in as few as 1 roll of the 5 dice, or as many as 3 rolls of the dice. Playing. If wagering, each player antes at the beginning of the round. The player to go first can be determined by each player rolling a single die, the highest going first, rolling off in the case of a tie. The first player then rolls the 5 dice. The goal is to roll a 6, a 5, a 4, in that order if multiple rolls are needed, then have the highest total with the remaining 2 dice. So a 6, a 5, a 4, and 2 6s is the best you can do. If you can do that in 1 roll, even better, and let me explain why. On the first roll, if no 6 is showing, then all of the dice must be re-rolled. If a 6 but no 5 is showing, the 6 may be kept, just put it off to the side, but all 4 other dice must be re-rolled. So too, if a 6 and 5 are showing, but no 4, the 6 and 5 can be kept, but the other 3 dice must be re-rolled. If a 6, 5, and a 4 are showing, the player has the choice of keeping the total on the 2 remaining dice as his treasure, or may choose to re-roll both of the treasure dice. Treasure dice must always be re-rolled as a pair. You can't keep a 6 as part of the treasure and re-roll the other die. A player may take up to 3 rolls of the dice to achieve his ship, captain, crew, and treasure, but may stop at any time that he has all of the components covered. If he achieves his goal with but 1 roll, all subsequent players only receive a single roll to attempt to tie or beat him. If a player achieves the goal in 2 rolls, all subsequent players have only 2 rolls to tie or beat the leader. Winning. Without a ship, captain, crew, and treasure total, you are out of the round. The player with the highest treasure total wins the round and the pot. If no one scores in a round, or if the 2 highest totals tie, all players ante up again, and the round is replayed for the increased pot by all players. So high tie, all tie. The winning player always starts the next round, and play proceeds clockwise. In the case of a tie, whoever started that first round still has the helm, so to speak. So there you go. There's another game. Ship, captain, crew. 5 dice, play anywhere. Good times. I enjoy ship, captain, crew. I've been thinking about using it as a... In fact, I started working on a game where I use it as a base mechanic within the game for other things. I should pick that back up and get back to it with all that's going on. If we're going into a winter lockdown, I'll definitely have the time. So, there you go. I think we've gone over some amazing things today. Appendix F, gambling. And again, doing this within the game, between the player characters. Good time. Getting into gambling on your own, I don't recommend it. People do it. It's your choice, certainly. Still a free country. But Everything is always weighted against whoever is gambling. Long run, odds are that you're going to lose. It's just the way statistics bear out what has happened to most that have gambled. It's an addiction. Once you get involved with it, if you have an addictive personality, you will, in all likelihood, continue to gamble and will, in the long run, lose. In-game, however, different sort of thing entirely. So maybe not so bad then. In any event, this was a good time, I gotta say. I enjoyed doing this video today. Always good to delve into the Dungeon Master's Guide. Always a lot of good info inside there. So I'm going to wind this one down. I know it's a few minutes early, but that's okay. Tomorrow, I think we were talking about doing a 1E discussion on what? Appendix O. What's Appendix O? Do we even know anymore? Maybe they've all changed. I remember Appendix O. Appendix P. Oh, I've got that screwed up. Encumbrance of standard items. That's a campaign discussion. Even using encumbrance is a campaign discussion, right? So we'll look into that tomorrow. Appendix O. GMing tips on Thursday. Well, let's look at the schedule. It's 10 a.m. every day. Where are we at here? There it is. Tomorrow, campaign discussion. Appendix O. GMing tips on Thursday. Building adventures on Friday. GM reviews on Saturday. Rules retrospective on Sunday. Weekly news and announcements on Monday. Then back around to cartography and world building next Tuesday. I'm going to keep reminding folks, this is the schedule through Monday, the 21st of December, at which point we will take a 2-week break, vacation, and then we'll be back on the 4th of January. We will be changing things. Come the new year, where we'll just be doing 2 shows a week, probably somewhat longer shows, 2 scheduled shows a week. And I think I've settled pretty much on Monday being outside the game and Thursday being inside the game. So stuff that exists inside the game while playing and whatnot will be the Thursday. That'll include cartography and world building, campaign discussion, GMing tips, building adventures, and the rules retrospective. A lot of that stuff will be inside the game, Thursday stuff. The weekly news and announcement, the GM reviews. And we'll be looking at a lot more stuff for GM reviews since we'll be doing it in a longer format potentially. But there you go. That's the new year. I want to thank everybody for coming out today, for following the Twitch channel, for chiming in on the stream chat when you get the chance. It's much appreciated. If you're catching up with this on YouTube, thank you very much there too. Please subscribe to the channel. If you're enjoying a video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any constructive criticism or kind words, please do leave a comment. It's always very much appreciated. This has been the OK Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Bye-bye.